Good day to you, dear listeners and viewers of Africa Edge TV. My name is Oluwatosin Adepoju. Yes, it's another time to talk about news, another time to digest news, and another time to serve you headlines that made it to Nigerian dailies today. Yes, this today I have three Nigerian papers with me. I have the Guardian, I have Nigerian Tribune, and I have the Punch. So I'll be starting with the Guardian newspaper. The lead story says advocacy for pay on debt law heightens as unclaimed funds near 1.3 trillion. That is the headline on the lead story on the Guardian newspaper. And right above the paper, I have the story that says, at 40, the Guardian continues to influence government policies. Abiodun Oshoba. The next story says, Nigerians 33 trillion stock market undervalued, trading at discount. The third story right above the paper says, fuel subsidy. Doctors want 550% salary increase. Threatened strike July 19. And moving on below the papers, I have this story that says assets declaration. Court grants Abba Kyari 50 million bail. The next story says temporary relief as Tinubu defers suspends Buhari's 11th hour tax drive. I take that again. Temporary relief as Tinubu defers suspends Buhari's 11th hour tax drive. And finally, today on the Guardian newspaper, the last story says Kano Anti-Graft Agency invites Ganduje for questioning. You can track up all these stories on the Guardian newspaper. Moving on to Nigerian Tribune, the lead story on the Nigerian Tribune today says Tinubu suspends Buhari tax policies, signs for executive orders, and it came with 3 riders. The first rider says Amends Finance Act, suspend 5% excise tax on telecom services. The next rider says further excise rate increase suggests inconsistency. And finally, the third rider says action will lift economy, save jobs, so says NECA. Right above the paper, I have story coming from INEC. INEC files 6-count charge against suspended Adamawa Rec to be arraigned next week. The next story says Kano Anti-Graft Agency summons Ganduje over dollar video. And under it, I have disregard invitation. APC tells former governor. Still right above the paper on the Nigerian Tribune today says Senate set to probe concession of airports. That is on page 2 of Nigerian Tribune. And still on Nigerian Tribune, moving on, I have Tinubu Shetima group storms EU secretariat, demands withdrawal of report on 2023 elections. Another story says on page 23, Nigerian missing among 12 African countries to benefit from malaria vaccine. From Osun State on page 10, Osun civil servants work out on consultants handling staff audit. I take that again. Osun civil servants work out on consultants handling staff audit. That is on page 10 of the Nigerian Tribune. And yes, still on Nigerian Tribune today, I have court grants Abba Kyari 50 million bail after 18 months in prison. Yes, these are all the stories that made it to Nigerian Tribune. You can do well to track up that stories. Any story that caught your attention, you can do well to try and track up the stories on the Nigerian Tribune. And finally, the third paper I have with me is the Punch newspaper. The lead story says rising inflation. Private sector demands more waivers as Tinubu suspend taxes. Private sector demands more waivers as Tinubu suspend taxes. And it came with 2 rider. Vehicle import, telecom, manufactured goods taxes blocked via 4 executive orders. I take that again. Vehicle import, telecom, manufactured goods, taxes blocked via 4 executive orders. The next rider says manufacturers, telecoms welcome relief. Federal government says suspensions to alleviate hardship. Moving on, right above the paper on the Punch paper, Tinubu 30 million others join Zuckerberg's threat. Another story says NNPCL plans another $8 billion international gas pipeline. And still right above the paper on the Punch today says money laundering. CBN places Cameroon, Vietnam, Croatia on watch list. I take that again. Money laundering. CBN places Cameroon, Vietnam, Croatia on watch list. Yes, that is right above the paper. And moving on, I have this story that says federal government promises to tackle military equipment shortage, poor funding. And yes, you can see picture of the vice president and some soldiers where they celebrated at National Army Day. The next story below the paper says police dismiss Lagos cop linked to missing baby after Punch report. Another story says Falcons protest cancelled bonuses, threatening to boycott World Cup. That's coming from the exciting world of sports. Falcons protest cancelled bonuses, threatening to boycott World Cup. And finally, on the Punch paper today, it says Emir bans on Isese, a crime against cultural heritage. That is coming from Wole Soyinka. I take that again. Emir's ban on Isese, a crime against cultural heritage. So says Wole Soyinka. That is on page 10 on the Punch newspaper. Yes, this is where I will end the conversation today with the Nigerian dailies. You can track up all these stories on the Nigerian papers. Do well to read, digest, and have basic information of the headlines that made it to the Nigerian dailies. Do have a wonderful day ahead of you. My name is Oluwatosin Adepoju. Like, share, and comment on this post. Keep listening to Africa Edge TV. Bye for now.